Okay, welcome back. Here we are, EastLASportsScene.com, and we talk of sports like we see it, like we want it to be, like we feel it, and like we see all of our um, uh, folks that are doing things in the world of sports. And I use folks kind of very nicely in a very compassionate way of saying that it's good for our people to be in every discipline, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, you name it. We're getting there. Little by little, the landscape, the mosaic of sports in this country is changing, and we feel like we're agents for change here on EastLASportsScene.com, as we've been for the past 18 years, bringing this program to our community here from Boyle Heights all the way out to East LA, and in between, all the points in between, it's EastLASportsScene.com. And as I mentioned at the top of our show, coming back here for a very quick return, none other than our own East LA native, Mr. Ricky Rosas. Ricky, how are you?
Good and yourself.
Oh,
Thank you for having me once again.
okay, and it's always a pleasure to have you here because you are in such a great position to know about USC football, and we get a lot of attention on that topic, and as you can imagine why, SC is always hot, whether it's basketball, baseball, but football always dominates at SC. And Ricky, we asked you to come in because earlier this month there was a National Signing Day, and both USC and UCLA schools, they have their commitments, but not everything is set in stone, correct?
Yes, not everything's set in
Okay.
stone as of right now.
Let's do this. You take some SC players, and I'll take some of the Bruin players.
Okay,
Okay?
you
And let's
got it.
talk about those.
All
Okay?
right.
You go first.
Um, I'm actually gonna start out with Sentinel Henderson,
Okay.
the player from St. Paul, Minnesota, was
Yes.
just a surprise signing where
Okay.
little people knew that he was gonna come to USC,
Mm-hmm.
but no one knew where he was gonna end up due to what happened, and he's glad to come. A big surprise, really big guy at 6'8",
Yeah.
300 pounds. That gets a great player to have on your team, no matter who you are.
Now, he was probably the most sought-after player in the high school ranks, right? Santrell Henderson, as you mentioned. Now, has he given the formal signing, or has he just given the verbal?
He has given a verbal to USC as of right now. He's waiting for the NCAA investigation to clear up before he signs up.
Okay. Now, I'll take someone from the UCLA signing list here, and I'll go right to a local player who was very well followed and publicized, and they had high expectations for him before he got hurt, and that's Anthony Barr from Loyola High School, my alma mater, I got to admit that. 6'4", 225-pound. He goes both ways as a linebacker or a running back. Now, what we heard about Anthony Barr, an outstanding punishing runner. He just runs right over you, breaks tackles left and right. But because of his height, he's 6'4", Ricky, and he becomes a target for many of those linebackers. An injury could be, as they say, part of the problem there.
Well, being at 6'4", but being at the lack of the running back position that USC has right now, I mean, we started off with having Joe McKnight, Alan Bradford, C.J. Gable, Stephon Johnson. Now we're down to Mark Tyler, Alan Bradford. We're down to get to a couple running backs. I think I would like to see him test it out at running back first and go from there. I mean, if he's a great linebacker, it would be good for us because we also need help in the linebacker position because our linebackers are barely sophomores.
Yeah, but Coach Neuheisel, he's going to have to decide on what's he going to do with this kid. And he's signed. He's like your number one signee, Anthony Barr. So he's good. Question is, where will he fit in with the Bruins? See? So good points here. We've got a big defensive lineman for the Trojans, their number one pick, and we're talking about a running back here for Coach Neuheisel of UCLA, Anthony Barr. Let's see what happens, okay? It's going to be nice to see some spring training coming up. We'll talk about that later on. Okay, let's go for another local player that USC signed.
I actually like, where we go, I'm going to go with.
What about the kid out of Taft High School? Was it DJ Morgan?
Oh, yeah, DJ Morgan.
Yeah, let's talk about him.
Great player. He, for us, at a running back position, just another position that USC is going to need due to like I said before, the lack of running backs.
Yeah.
I did not get to see him play in high school, so I really can't evaluate him as as of right now myself.
Well, I believe the Trojans are really very happy, glad that he signed, because even though he's coming off of a knee injury that he suffered against Garfield in his high school playoffs, they still took him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's big because I mean, most players once you come up a knee injury, colleges don't want to get you because they don't know if you're going to be ready for them in spring ball. They don't know how well you're going to perform when you come back. They don't know if you'll be 100%. But that's a great signing for USC to get them
Yeah.
to sign with USC.
Okay, let me give a player here from another local player here from Cathedral. The second year in a row that Coach Neuheisel has taken a wide receiver from the Cathedral Phantoms, and they're taking Anthony Jefferson, and he is 6'2", 180 pounds, but he's not a wide receiver. He's a defensive back. Have you heard anything about this player, Anthony Jefferson, during the season?
No, I have not. There was actually a USC student worker who graduated from Cathedral. I know somewhat about Cathedral. I just haven't followed Cathedral as much as I would like to.
Okay, let's continue on down the list here, Ricky. Who else you like here in terms of the signing for the USC Trojans?
I like Jesse Scroggins
Oh,
out of Lakewood.
there's a couple of players from Lakewood on the
Yes.
Trojans, right? Jesse Scroggins, quarterback?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about him.
Gonna be really good for us. Gonna be nice to see the competition if he can match up with Matt Barkley and just show the coaches what it's all about. I think going into the season right now, it's definitely Matt Barkley's position to lose,
Oh,
without a question. Barkley played great. Barkley played good enough to keep a job this year. He played good. You know, he had his ups, he had his downs. You got to remember, his wide receivers were banged up sometimes. His O-line was banged up sometimes.
right. Okay, we're going to finish up on this player here because I wanted to say something about that in terms of knowing how Coach Pete Carroll opened up to Matt Barkley and gave him every opportunity. Now it's Coach Kiffin. You think he might have a different type of competition for the quarterbacks?
I honestly think that it's still Matt Barkley's to lose just because Kiffin doesn't really know anything about Mitch Mustang or Jesse Scroggins going in. I do think, being that Mitch Mustang is a senior, he is going to give Matt Barkley, I think he will give Matt Barkley a run for his money.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break here and come back for the last segment, Ricky, but just want to let our viewers know, in case they have not met you here on our program, EastLASportsScene.com, that you will be on Coach Lane Kiffin's staff, correct?
Yes, it will be.
Okay, and many players have asked you to come back because you have become very, very close to many players in the past 2-3 seasons.
Yes, I have, and it's always fun being around USC, and it's a pleasure coming back here. Thank you for having me.
Well, don't go away, though. We're going to finish the second 10 minutes in a second. We're just taking a break here.
My bad.
Ricky Rosas in the chair with me here on EastLASportsScene.com. We're taking a quick break, and we're going to come back and finish up with a few more of the players that both the UCLA Bruins and the USC Trojans have signed for national letters of intent. We'll be back in a second.
Okay, I know who I want.